Honey, look at those beautiful clouds.
Those aren't clouds, Daddy. Those are chemtrails.
Chemtrails? What are chemtrails?
Chemical trails, Daddy, and they're very bad.
You're on.
This is Dane Wigington with Geoengineering Watchdog Radio. Sorry for the delay. Had some tech issues go on, but hopefully we're on there now. Should have Richard Sachs coming on in a minute. Have a very important guest today, Roger Landry from the Liberty Beacon. And Roger's a very, very insightful, knowledgeable, and well-spoken contributor to the common good, I should say, with him. He's trying to stitch a lot of the alternative news community together, and we certainly need that right now. So I'll be bringing Roger on in just a few minutes, trying to get him set up now, as we've had a short delay here. And Russ, I'm sure, will let me know when we get Roger online. I want to go over a few things today. Certainly the climate engineering is pressing on at ever-increasing levels, hearing from people around the globe, people that are sick, people that are absolutely fed up with this constant atmospheric assault. It's certainly affecting all of us, and although awareness is raising, we need to raise it faster. Everybody needs to start picking up the pace with our efforts here in this most dire cause, because, as I've stated many times before, time is not on our side. It's absolutely not on our side. We're trying to get billboards going, for example, with a lot of help from George Barnes with Lookup, Skyder Alert. Encourage people to use that application. We think we should have billboards up in the Atlanta area soon, at least a billboard that will rotate around. We'll post the image of that soon, but it should raise plenty of attention, and we hope to put it near the Weather Channel headquarters in Atlanta. So as people wake up and realize what groups like Weather Channel are doing, that they're nothing more than paid liars, period. There's no other description for these people who simply say what they're told to say. They're simply script readers, and at this point, they can only be considered accessories to the crime. That's exactly what they are. We have most of the scientific community in that same category, accessories to the crime. That we're supposed to, because they have a PhD or some sort of credential, we're supposed to ignore what we see with our own eyes in the skies above us. And sadly, there's too many people willing to do that. Too many people, but they won't have this option much longer. Again, the fallout from the climate engineering is absolutely horrific. It's manifesting itself by the day. And it's also unfortunate, too, that a lot of people in the anti-geoengineering community also need to come to grips with other factors that have helped sack the planet. And we have raped this planet from top to bottom. There's no getting around that. And the greatest example of that is climate engineering. Now, I want to talk today also about something that's happening at the Bundy Ranch in Nevada, because it's the epitome of what quote-unquote government is right now. Government is simply a licensed mafia who does whatever in the hell they want, from spraying us like rats from the sky to confiscating land at gunpoint. They do whatever they want. The paradox is those who carry out the orders for this mafia on the ground, whether it's BLM or various arms of law enforcement, are also being sprayed like rats, like the rest of us. And one would hope at some point that the Gestapo realizes they are cannon fodder along with the rest of us, that a few people at the top of this whole circus of insanity are pulling all the strings. So it's up to all of us to try to bring this to light, learn about our subjects that we're trying to share with others. It's imperative we do that, because too many people on all sides of the fence have stopped learning. They've adopted their conclusions. They don't look at data because they already have the facts. And as the saying goes, you can't add to a cup that's already full. And too many people's cups are already full. They've already made up their minds. They don't want facts anymore. And that's a problem for everybody on every side of the fence. So let's not be like those in the climate science community, for example, who patently deny geoengineering is going on. It's ludicrous at this point, that kind of denial. So let's not be like them. Let's acknowledge the facts we see happening around us, the various factors that are tearing the climate apart, so that we're not standing on shaky ground either. So all of us need to continue learning and have a clue about what we're talking about, pass on credible data. Russ, do we have Roger online and Richard?
Yeah, Roger and Richard should be with us. Are you with us, guys?
Yeah, I just now got in.
Yes,
okay,
I'm on.
Okay, we have Roger Landry with us. And again, I want to announce for those that are not familiar with the Liberty Beacon, I highly recommend visiting this site and educating yourself with the data that's posted there. And I salute Roger for what he's done to try to stitch a lot of sources of data together and help to catalyze people in a common direction. And Roger is actually very up to speed on many issues. I had the pleasure of doing his radio show and found he was very, very informed on many subjects, including climate engineering. So, Roger, tell our guests exactly what inspired you to start putting the Liberty Beacon together, the direction of the site, and your goals for it.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the show to represent the Liberty Beacon Project, Dane, and it's always a great thing to be able to discuss the project. The project is global. We have websites up across the planet, including Australia, South Africa, United Kingdom, Canada. We're right now constructing sites for the Netherlands, Germany, Chile, and the list just goes on. Again, a lot of the issues we face, as you discussed so eloquently, are not just U.S. issues. First off, I'm very, very fond of saying that the United States has no patent on either liberty or tyranny. And this is a fact. And where goes humanity in this country basically goes humanity on this planet. And we felt, again, we're general practitioners at the Liberty Beacon Project. We speak to every type of tyranny, whether it be health tyranny, political tyranny, anything that is pushing back against humanity as a whole on this planet. And we depend on the experts, such as yourself and your excellent organization, who speak to a specific topic. And the Liberty Beacon Project is basically a conglomerate of specialists, such as yourself, who all join their voice together under the umbrella of the Liberty Beacon Project as partners, so that we can provide a blanket of really good, peer-reviewed information to everybody who listens, because there's two types of people. Actually, there's three types of people in this world. There's those who are aware, there are those who are ignorant, and there are those who are stupid. Now, stupidity I define as having the facts and choosing to do nothing with them. Ignorance is not having the facts, so you don't know what to do, and aware is people such as yourself and those who make up the Liberty Beacon Project. Our mission is to get the word out on any source of tyranny subjugating the population of this planet. We do realize that we have major issues in this country, the United States, and that we do need to focus a lot of our attention here, because in a lot of cases, where goes the United States goes the world. And also, it's kind of hard to preach to everybody else to clean their house up if your house is dirty. But again, we are GPs, general practitioners. We put the word out on many, many topics. And my personal motto is, I am an expert at nothing, but I know enough about everything to have an intelligent conversation about anything. So that's my lead-in, sir.
You're what you're doing, Roger, in bringing this data together, because it's imperative for people to have a common source for a lot of key critical issues, and a lot of people have formed opinions and are no longer taking in new data, and that's not helpful. You've seen that in your interactions, I'm sure, correct?
Often.
Yeah,
Often. But what they do is they blindside themselves. They figure they know enough, and they're not open to new ideas, and basically trying to get through to these people, you get a major pushback. But again, we are the general practitioners. It is those like yourself, and we promote your site a lot. We promote a lot of sites. We promote GMO sites, political tyranny sites, geoengineering sites, because you are the specialist, and it is your information we wish people to have. We are the catalyst. We will bring people together, but we are basically a crossroads. We're that fork in the road where you can stand here and you can go off to the geoengineering website, you can go off to the GMO website, and we will steer you in that direction. We don't need to be the center of attention. What we need to be is, and I hate to use this analogy, but it's so apropos, we need to be the traffic cop that steers you in the right direction.
With enough data in the right spot as well, people need to try to learn to prioritize. Again, if you have a house burning down, you don't go out and mow the lawn. You put the house out first. So we have a lot of people that seem to be having trouble prioritizing, and we have, as we would expect, those who print the money eventually pulling the strings on almost every organization. I'm looking right now at a document called SRMGI, Solar Radiation Management Governance Initiative, and in this we see, and I'll publish this in the next day or two, we see that we have environmental groups like EDF. We wonder why they haven't spoken out against geoengineering, because they're in bed with the geoengineers. So this is right from this document. The SRM Research Governance Initiative was convened by a partnership of the Environmental Defense Fund, EDF, and the Royal Society. Well, there you have it. The marriage of the global elite and the environmental groups. So, again, we're dealing with a situation where we have so much of the media completely, and the message, any sort of quote-unquote oracles of truth, are so completely bought, sold, and paid for that we need some sort of other crucible to pull truth from or to collect data. And again, I'm grateful to you that for everything you've done in stitching people together and stitching information together in a way that's makes it available to everybody. Russ, I want for people who have questions of Roger, and I'll let you continue, Roger. You can give the call-in number quick, Russ, and then Roger can continue.
Yeah, absolutely. For those who want to call in, you can call 718-717-8296. That's 718-717-8296. And you can listen live at ucy.tv, and I'll put the call-in number there as well.
Roger, your assessment of the gravity and immediacy of our collective realities on planet Earth. What's your assessment?
One of my strong points is that I find tie points. And you and I had a discussion the other day whereby I was telling you that if you would go to people and say there is a connection between two totally diverse situations such as vaccines and geoengineering, people will look at you like you're an idiot. So my strong point is tying things together and proving that they are all connected on a basic level. Now, what's my assessment? My assessment is that we are being attacked in so many directions simultaneously, all legally and all supported by a massive majority of governments across this planet, which are basically, we all know, are bought and paid for. So we're being attacked in our vaccines. We're being attacked in our food through GMOs. We're being attacked in our water through fluoride, which is a catalyst to get heavy metals into your brain. We're being attacked by the air we breathe. How can anybody believe it's a coincidence that we could be under attack in so many different directions by so many different mechanisms simultaneously, and there isn't a root cause behind all of this or a drive behind all of this? The immediacy of this issue is immediate. This planet right now, I fear for anything beyond the next generation. I am in total terror of what my grandchildren will live through, and I'm not even sure that my grandchildren will have children or will have a planet that can support their children. That's my, and it's through the information that you put out, that these great GMO groups, we have great information on the Liberty Beacon because we have great partners like you that allow us to take the creme de crop of your articles and post them there. And that's what attracts the attention from the Liberty Beacon over to your site, is the ability to take the best that you have to offer and put it on our site and direct them to the experts. So if you want to know my idea of immediacy, I've got to tell you something. It's bleak, and it's going to take a concerted effort, a massive unification of voices to push back against this. We do not believe in violence. We do not even believe in breaking the law. Everything we need to do can be done within the constraints of the law or within the constraints of the Constitution. There's 310 million people in this country alone. If 20% of us spoke up, we would be an unstoppable force. Immediacy, it's there.
Richard, and on what you just stated, Roger, and we so completely agree with that. And Richard, I'd like to hear your commentary toward Roger, since you two have not met yet. But we do discuss this exact scenario that you just brought up, Roger, that all of it is connected. All of it leads back to the same core group of power.
Oh, I have proven that.
Yes,
I have proven that.
Exactly. Richard, that correlates with our perspectives as well, yes?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Roger, it's really a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for being on the show. And
you're very welcome, sir.
Really appreciate it. I'm coming from the point of view of a holistic health scientist. And so, I tie into all these things as well, and I agree with everything that you said. Just enjoying hearing your point of view on all these different things, but we're in agreement about everything as far as I can tell.
Well, again, having a central spot, we need more of that where, Roger, I think you're riding shotgun on everything that comes together on your site, correct? I mean, you're well versed in every subject I've spoken to you about, and so you're acting as a filter for everything that comes on. Not a filter, but I should say an overseer, if you will, for making sure that you pull the right elements together. And I think that is essential, because a lot of sites right now are slapping anything up that comes down the pike, and there's no. Perhaps those people who are putting that up on the board are not necessarily familiar with things as you are. So again, I appreciate the role you're playing in this play right now.
Well, I am the founder of the project, but I refuse to take a title. We have an executive director, we have a director of media, we have a director of radio media, we have a staff, but taking on a title basically gives you restrictions. So yes, I'm free to do exactly what you say. I research 5 to 6 hours every day. I'm at my computer 18 hours a day on average, 7 days a week. I haven't had a day off in 2 years. I am driven to understand, to learn. Again, not to be an expert, but to know enough to be aware what needs to be gotten out. I depend on the experts such as yourselves to provide the follow-on information. So we look at everything, and yes, there are a lot of people who will sneak in information that might speak to your topic, but at the same time, it is, in fact, misdirection. So everything that goes up is read. Everything is checked out. And we find that even through our contributors, maybe as much as 25% of what we receive does not get published. And there is a reason for that.
Well, this is what you're outlining is what separates you from other sites, and the fact that you do that kind of research, the fact that you haven't formed an opinion that's now carved in stone and doesn't examine data when it comes in, that's just not common. Unfortunately, it's not common. But I think the fact that you are that dedicated is what separates you, what separates your site, and what makes it what it is. So again, I salute you for the complete dedication you have there, and the fact that you are constantly learning, because a lot of sites, if you will, have stopped learning. They form their opinion. It's now really ideology, and not much penetrates it. So again, I salute your approach. That's why I'm so encouraged by what you're doing. Your perspective on the Bundy situation in regard to that as an example of the entire power structure that's being carried out right now. What's your take on that, Roger?
Well, what I would tell you is there was a comment made in one of their town meetings, I believe it was yesterday, could have been the day before, where a gentleman stood up and basically made the comment, and this absolutely rocked me back off my heels. He said there are so many armed agents, basically in order to destroy the water towers and the mechanisms for delivering water from one holding tank to another, the pipelines. They're using a truck with a backhoe and some equipment in it, and that truck is protected by 30 armed U.S. agents. And stop and think about that. One truck with 30 armed U.S. agents protecting that truck. And basically what this gentleman said in the meeting was, they will first shot, and we will fire the rest. We are at a tipping point. We have so many oath keepers there. We have so many constitutional sheriffs there. We have militia piling in there. And what we could be seeing at this point is a tipping point. Now, a tipping point means it can go one way or the other. Either we could go into a full-fledged, and it could actually cascade this far, martial law lockdown, or we could go into the government looking at the reaction of the people and saying, I think we need to back off. I'm telling you that this is probably the biggest catalyst for this type of a tipping point that we've seen in recent history. And it's not getting better at this point. Each day, this is heightening the tension more and more.
Well, and we add everything into it. I mean, the whole drought situation. We look at now the weapon of weather warfare that's being waged against the American population. That's helping to further fan the flames on situations like the Bundy situation and the cattle situation, the water situation. We see the same thing happening in country after country after country. It's been going on in Africa for 30 plus years. This is back to where everything ties in together. Everything. So you have the African countries that were droughted out in the 70s, 80s, brought to their knees. The U.S. boots moved in. We have, for example, people don't know this, that in Syria,
you can come a lot closer than that, and I apologize for interjecting, but you make such an excellent point. And this was the greatest part of you and I doing our discussion the other day, is that you make these great points that I just have to respond to. We don't even have to go that far. Let's look at the drought situation in California, the state that provides 60% of the food we eat in this country is in one of the worst droughts in recent history. And if you stop and consider that California and that area that produces a lot of that food is one of the most geoengineered or weather-controlled portions of this country, how can you not realize that 1 and 1 makes 2? I'm really, really good at math, but you don't have to be good at math to see that 1 and 1 is 2. We have a severe drought in California. It is the grocery store of this country. So everything you're speaking of is taking place right in our backyard. It's happening as we speak.
To expound on what you're saying in regard to California, and certainly I agree. I mean, I did an article called Engineered Catastrophe Target California. And
I read it.
And this is how incredibly conditioned people are, even at the highest levels of government. And I just heard yesterday, I had a meeting with the Lieutenant Governor of California at the Capitol and his aide about 6 weeks ago. I presented data, satellite photos. They seemed to get it. You just said 1 and 1 equals 2, and that's pretty simple math. Yes, it is. And when you have sat photos, which I supplied them with, of grid spraying off the coast of California constantly, we know from science data this diminishes and disperses the hydrological cycle. 2 and 2 equals 4. Lots of spraying, no rain. And now I hear yesterday that now the Lieutenant Governor, unfortunately, and I hope this changes. I hope it changes. But now he's saying, well, he really doesn't understand these satellite photos. He doesn't see what he's supposed to be looking at, even though there's grid patterns that virtually slap you in the face when you look at them.
Yes.
And he's told by those around him that, well, there's nothing to this, so I guess that's where he leaves it. And this is what we have. And at this point, aren't these people who are so willfully ignorant of this situation, at what point are people held accountable? I mean, this from meteorologists to quote-unquote climate scientists, that you can't legitimately discuss what's happening with the climate without first and foremost talking about climate engineering. You can't. So at what point are these people held responsible? And this is our disinformation directory site, which Russ has got up and a framework done now. We're going to expand on this, but to try to shine a light on these people who absolutely lie through their teeth. They're paid to lie. Again, I'm not insinuating that with Lieutenant Governor yet. I hope that he comes around, but meteorologists in this case absolutely lie through their teeth. And the equation could not be more simple. So yes, people don't know in the case of Syria. They were droughted out horrifically for 5 years, which helps to bring tensions to a peak, which helps them to foment the unrest that our government fueled there, just like they fueled it in Libya, just like they're fueling it in Ukraine. So weather warfare has been an aspect in so much of what's happened around the planet. It's astounding, and people don't realize it. Now it's weather warfare here, as you correctly stated, Roger. They're sacking the food production of California, absolutely sacking it, and it's an all-out assault. And yet you have federal agents that you just described assisting in this when they're going to go down with the rest of us, and apparently don't realize it. So, Roger? Continue.
Well, I would tell you, let me bring up 2 points, okay? The first point is that there are 192 or 196, depending on your definition of a country. But let's go with 196 countries on this planet. The United States has special forces, highly trained, highly equipped, or very well equipped, special forces in 136 countries on this planet. Stop and think about that. Put that into perspective. And now what you're talking about is a government that seems to be basically committing suicide, not just for this country, but for this planet. What most people don't understand, and I worked for 30 years for the military-industrial complex, either in the military or working directly for them. I worked for Raytheon Services Company, and I worked strictly DoD contracts. So I'm very, very familiar with the government functionality and with their viewpoint of the world. But let's take one more thing into consideration here. There are a lot of people within the government that are doing things that you would think that they would be aware that, hey, this is really bad. But we live in a society where the government is so compartmentalized, it is insane. I would work with people in one building who were working on a part of a project that if you took what they were doing as a whole, it had no ill ramifications whatsoever. I would go to another building and I would talk to people who were working on another part of the project. Now, I was a project manager. It was my job to put all of these concepts together and make put together a program that would work. Okay? And this was on foreign sites around the world. I spent almost 80% of my life for 25 years out of this country every year. So the compartmentalization, basically you end up with a lot of people who are ignorant of the whole. And this is the truth. And it takes people like you and me to show them where their piece of the puzzle, their one piece of the puzzle, if you take and step back and look at the puzzle as a whole, it's not going in a good direction. It really isn't. You and I, on the show we did last week, we discussed tie points, simple tie points that tie so many things together. We talked about aluminum in vaccines, aluminum resistant seeds being developed by the biotech industry to suck the aluminum out of the soil, so you're eating aluminum. Now you're getting injected with it, you're eating it. Megatons of nano-sized particles of aluminum being sprayed into the atmosphere, and fluoride in your water, which one of its main attributes is it facilitates metals across the blood-brain barrier into the brain. Now, for someone like you and me who can see this, we can tie all of these together. But somebody who just works in GMOs, somebody who just works on vaccines, or somebody who just works on geoengineering, they can't see this and they can't understand it. This is why I say this is all tied together. And I use the analogy, it's golf clubs in a golf bag that these elites are carrying around the course. The main goal is to win the game. But in order to win that game, they need multiple mechanisms. Well, that's the 5-iron, the 7-iron, the pitching wedge. These are the tools. The GMOs with the aluminum in it, the vaccines with the aluminum in it, the water with the fluoride in it, the chemtrails with the nano-sized particles of aluminum. It's all part of the same goal, the same mechanism. But try to explain that to people, and the immediate thought is, I'm not doing anything evil, all I'm doing is this. And this is due to massive compartmentalization. It's up to people like you and me to break those barriers down. That's the mission of the Liberty Beacon Project, and that's why you're such a valuable partner, because you bring a key element into that we're not experts at. But we know enough to know that it needs to be told.
Well, this is where people must reevaluate their perspectives, their conclusions every single day, to re-examine data and retake your compass heading. When you're on a long journey, you don't look at your compass once and start marching for 20 days and not take your heading anymore. You're never going to end up where you thought you were going, ever. And this is where people, again, the constant intake of data matters. And no matter what tools they have in their golf bag, if you will, and I agree with the analogy completely, people have to cooperate with the power structure in order for them to carry out those tools. And that's what's so astounding to me from the sort of agents that are with this Bundy Ranch thing that just do whatever they're told to. I was told 2 days ago about a cardiologist in L.A. who's been fired from his employment, and another one that was demoted because they're now trying to connect or talk about climate engineering
Yes.
as a likely cause of all the respiratory issues. So how does that happen? How can they be fired? Because so many people around them are willing to just toe the line. Just toe the line. Even though they're sinking on the same ship and they're helping to sink the ship, they continue to toe the line for the power structure. And this simply must change. Let me give an update from 51 minutes ago. Las Vegas, the Bureau of Land Management has announced it will stop the roundup of cattle owned by ranchers Clive and Bundy. BLM says the animals have been illegally grazing. Well, of course, that's because they determined to change the previous permits, I think. But it looks like perhaps they're backing off for the moment. But we all know, even if they do back off, they're just regrouping for the next assault. Yes?
Let's look at a map, okay? And I would like anybody listening to this show to Google this. Let's look at a map of land within the borders of the continental United States that is under the control of the United Nations, not the United States. Okay? So we've got land that since the 1800s has been utilized by these ranchers for the grazing of their cattle. All of a sudden, the government steps in and says, hey, because of turtles, you can't graze your cattle. Okay, basically what we're talking about is the destruction of the cattle industry throughout this region. But if you take a look at a map and you look at the color coding of what is under UN control and what is under U.S. control, and here we go, we're talking about globalization, we're talking about the New World Order. Oh my God, he's got to have his tinfoil hat on. What we're seeing is that this is not the U.S. government stepping in and saying this. This is the UN, which our government totally subscribes to globalization and a New World Order, stepping in on the behest of the United Nations and saying that land is no longer for your use. And that's not even coming from our government. That's coming from the United Nations, because over 90% of the land in this country, almost, and don't pin me to that number, but it's very close, is under the control of the United Nations, not the government or we the people. That would shock the hell out of your listeners if they did any research on that. So let's take another piece of the puzzle and throw it in. Look at a map that shows you, and you can Google that, and find out how much of the land you think belongs to this country is actually under control of the United Nations, not Americans.
Well, when you have, in addition, the method of killing off and controlling ranchers, cattle, recovering that land, or the government confiscating that land, if you will, how many different ways that are related to climate engineering, again, do they utilize in order to start diminishing the food supply? For example, we see a lot of cattle being sold now because of the drought, correct? I mean, we have areas that are from here to Texas being droughted out, farmers, their backs being broken. We saw the same thing happen in Australia, where regions were droughted out so horrifically by climate engineering that massive swaths of land were bought for pennies on the dollar, towns and everything. Then the rain returned to some of those areas after multinational corporations took them over. So now we have in South Dakota, again, last October, we had up to 100,000 cattle killed by an engineered snowstorm. So there's a lot of different methods that the power structure can, again, break the backs of these ranchers, thwart their stock and trade, if you will, and from every direction this is happening. But it couldn't happen. It couldn't happen if people in the system were not so cooperative, from law enforcement to health officials, EPA, you name it. They all toe the line for the few at the top who are virtually pushing us all over the edge, and this needs to change. It needs to change. Richard, your perspective with Roger, again, I want, if you have any questions for Roger, I'd like you to pose that, and Richard is certainly staying on top of the Bundy situation. Had you heard of this latest update, that there seems to be some sort of a pullback from the feds?
Well, it's not surprising, because that's a typical strategy, is to try to kind of fade into the background a little bit until the public gets diverted on something else and then attack much more strongly. I mean, it's not an indication of them changing their strategy at all. And it's just exactly what you would expect. I also think that the reason all the mainstream media came there and was originally forced by the so-called alternative media coverage is because they're brought in like a psychological army to try to convince people it's all about one insane rancher, and the kind authorities are backing off so that they can figure out what to do about this crazy person and then move in again.
Great points. Roger, your take on that, too.
I could not have possibly put it better. But you mentioned, again, you threw out these great speaking points about the minimalistic control at the top affecting so many people down in that pyramid-type fashion all the way to the bottom. I'm going to make something a lot of people are going to I'm going to make a comment a lot of people are going to push back on at first, but let me explain it, okay? In 1932, and this is something we railed against as a country in a huge fashion, all the way up to and including bringing us into a world war, a global war, World War II. In 1932, Benito Mussolini made a comment when he was asked to describe fascism. And we all know what fascism is, okay? And he said that fascism can better be described as corporatism because it is the blending of the power of large corporations and the state. What we see in this country today, and this is where the quote-unquote elite, because I don't believe they're elite, they believe they're elite. These elites, and if you look at all of the corporations that chemtrails, that perpetrate the GMOs, that perpetrate the vaccines, everything is being controlled by a very few, very large corporations which share the same board of directors. They play musical chairs from one company to another. And so what you have is a very, very small amount of people at the very top controlling a corporatist world. And anybody who doesn't feel that by the sheer definition of fascism, as laid down by the father of fascism, Benito Mussolini himself, that this country, and indeed a vast majority of this planet, is not under a fascistic control, and it is to the detriment of humanity through the geoengineering, through the GMOs and the other mechanisms, you're wrong. And anybody who doesn't believe that this is going to result in genocide, you're wrong. Because we see the proof all around us, and nobody is more adept at putting that proof out than you yourself, Dane.
Well, it's a cumulative effort, and all of us in this matter, and everybody, every activist everywhere matters. And I heard a statement from a man from Africa whose country has been basically taken over and put under the UN control for their resources. And his statement was this: they come in and tell you that they cut off your arms and your legs. And then when you say, how can I feed myself? They say, don't worry, we'll feed you. We'll feed you with a spoon, even though they can't feed themselves now. And the man says, correctly so, how is this freedom? How is this freedom? And that's exactly what we see happening. And how many countries are willing to submit to this? How many countries, because there are few corrupt leaders at the top who want to be a part of this cabal, submit their countries to this sort of slavery? And again, it comes down to so few people at the top, and you correctly said, Roger, they're not elite. They're actually a very
insane,
twisted, demented, cancerous part of society. But how long will this continue with a global population that's entering into genocide because of the actions of a few at the top? When will people wake up, get off the bench, and start to assess the situation? Because the water's coming over the deck right now. We're all arranging chairs on the deck of the Titanic, literally.
You make such an eloquent point. And again, I've been asked over and over again, why do you have a website in Australia? Why do you have a website in the UK? Why? Our goal is by the 1st of the year, the 1st of January 2015, to cover 100 countries across this planet. And what we will do at that point is each one of these countries, which has a Liberty Beacon site in it, has the same mission we have with the main site we set up here in the United States, is to get in touch with as many people who are learned on the GMO issue, the chemtrail issue, the political tyranny issue, and to formulate within their countries an organization such as what the Liberty Beacon has here, the main project. They will all elect, okay, through a democratic process, an ambassador to come to a Liberty Beacon Congress. What we intend to do is something nobody has done. What we intend to do is unify the voices of countries from across this planet. Because until we start to speak with a unified voice, we have no voice. So when we have a Congress in place that covers a majority of the planets on this earth and we all start to push in one direction, damn it, somebody's going to listen to us. But until that mechanism is in place, you can have the biggest group in America, the biggest website in the UK. Nobody's going to listen to you because your voice isn't big enough. It doesn't cover enough of the geography of this planet. The voice is going to get lost in the hollering and the screaming. So the Liberty Beacon Project will put together a global Congress that will push back at first the weakest link. Because once you have a victory, what does that do? That emboldens everybody to attack, and I'm not talking about through violence, the next weakest link. And you continue to climb the chain of links until that chain disappears. It will never happen until we unify voices from across this planet. One country alone, a victory in any country, will not stop this madness. This has to be a global effort. We intend to do this through a global Congress. This is not a joke. This plan is already underway. And do I think that somebody's going to try and stop us? Yes. You might be able to take one country out of the equation, maybe even two, maybe even three. But you won't stop a global movement. And this is what the Liberty Beacon Project is doing right now. And this is what great partners like you, who have a global perspective on your issue, are helping us to do.
This is where the more lethal aspects of climate engineering should really be considered. That
Yes.
as a movement like that grows, and I agree with you on all the points you made, Roger, they're extremely important points. But as momentum builds, so long as they're spraying above us, we already know the damage it's doing. It's killing us slowly, all of us, day by day, killing the planet.
Agreed.
But at any point in time, if this movement gains momentum and the global power structure chooses to level the playing field, with a change in the mix, and people should consider this. It's astounding how many people can't seem to bring themselves to admit to what they see with their own eyes above us. But this is a simple, hard fact, and no amount of denial will change this. At any point in time, when the power structure, if the power structure chooses to put us all on our backs, a change in the mix can make it game over for all of us at any point in time. They could spray a pathogen that is lethal enough to put us all out of the game any time they want. So this is back to the gravity of the spraying. It's already, with what they're already spraying, killing everything slowly. But at any point in time, again, they could make it game over for all of us. So I hope more people do it in the course of the momentum that's building and the importance of what you're describing. I hope that this one issue is one that we can continue to focus on so that people understand that's right now that the tool of the power structure that could change the game for all of us.
Well, you're speaking to generation. You're speaking to generational, and the mechanism, the actual big club in that golf bag is the end game, which they could facilitate. Right now, we're seeing over the last 3 generations I've been alive, because I'll be 60 on August 19th. I watched the United States go from one of the healthiest, most vibrant societies on this planet to the sickest, Google it, it's a fact, society on this planet. But we are the most GMO'd, the most vaccinated, the most chemtrailed society on this planet as well. Where does coincidence leave off and it's a fact jump in? So yes, we're seeing a generational genocide at this point. But I do agree with you that at any given point, if they believe that they're going down, they could pull out the big club.
There you go. And even right now, when you have the effect it accumulates on people, Russ, when they spray heavily, it virtually keeps you awake at night, correct? We have Russ? We might have lost Russ on this exchange, but I know Russ
No, I'm here.
kept up. There you go.
Yeah, you're completely right. I mean, the spraying, the intensity of the spraying is just amazing. And for someone like me who's sensitive to it, I can smell it and taste it. It is just a nightmare. I wish everybody could smell it and taste it, because if they did, the reality of the situation would be much different, because everybody would be aware of it.
And I've talked to other people. I know for people who don't have that much sensitivity, it's hard for them to fathom that. I have talked to plenty who have the same sensitivity that you do. So, again, imagine with our immune systems are already weakened. There's no question about that. The barium, other elements, the combination of all the above, the vaccinations, all of that's weakened our immune system. So now we're quite ripe for the kill, if you will. If they release the wrong pathogen on us, that's the end of the line. So, Roger, your website has been a great augmentation to the cause of sanity on the planet, and we certainly want to promote it as much as we can and get other people to contribute to the site. And again, your voice alone has been a huge help in this equation. So I encourage people to look at the Liberty Beacon, to go to the site, share the site, help get that source of independent data out to everyone, so that we'll have more people informed that aren't yet informed. As Roger described earlier, those that are ignorant, we need to cure. We can't cure those that refuse to wake up, if you will, but certainly those that are willing. That's a source for them to find data on virtually every subject under the sun. Roger, you've tried to cover all important aspects of the collective insanity on your site. I mean, you continue to look for that data every day. Yes, so
there is one more site, real quick. We have two main sites, and of course a lot of sites in the project, but our two main sites are the Liberty Beacon, which is the center of the Liberty Beacon project, and thefallingdarkness.com. All one word, thefallingdarkness.com, which is the edge of the Liberty Beacon project. So I would strongly suggest that you visit both. What you're going to find is that anything that is causing harm to the population of this planet and being done intentionally, we are speaking to it.
And that's what it's going to take, people that have the same dedication that you have to research every day, to stay at the speed on events as they're unfolding, to not lock into a particular perspective because of some ideology, to again constantly retake that compass heading. So, Richard, as you said, this pullback in the Bundy Ranch just to try to diffuse the situation momentarily, I agree. We'll continue to watch that unfold. And in the meantime, we have the Kiev, Ukraine situation that is being fanned. We have the missing jet that seems to be the latest mass distraction. I mean, there's certainly a
yes.
hell of an odor to that situation, right, Roger? I mean, that's,
oh my God, yes.
So all this data, I think, is being covered on Liberty Beacon, and everybody out there. It's up to all of us to take the time necessary to engage in this fight credibly, and to forego some of our former activities that are not contributing to the fight right now. So we're in the stretch. This is the most critical of times for us all to engage with everything that we have. Roger, any final words here for the listeners?
Yes, there is. As eloquently as you put that, let me just carry that one step further, okay? For everybody out there who has children or is about to have children, just what do you think you're leaving for them? Consider it.
Thank you, Roger, for joining us, and thank you. This is Trust. Pete.